Hey, I'm Kev Hillman. Welcome back to Italy and MXGP Pros. We begin second moto. Not the best start from Hillman, but we saw when he cut to the inside in that opening moto. Made out lots of position. He's into the top 10, just ahead of Libert. Got Prado in front. We've got Jonas leading the way though. There's Hillman and Covington already doing battle on this open out. Back into the top 5 is Hillman immediately. After virtually occupying for the whole of the race in that opening moto. And once again, look at the Suzuki's in second and third, making those superb starts. Let's see who holds the inside line, which comes the outside line, which comes the inside. Well, I should I say Hillman does. He makes the move on Hunter Lawrence. But look at Jonas again. At the start of a moto. Just running away in the lead. Hillman trying to chase him down despite his unconventional lines. It's like the end of the opening race all over again. Let's go over the jumps. Remember, got to hit the inside of that corner. Oh, nicely hit from Hillman. Really on the back of Jonas. And Jonas over, look at Prado battling with Covington. And Hunter Lawrence now falling into the grips of the Spaniard. He's up into third as the teenager. Well, for Hillman, he's chasing down the championship leader and almost 2 sideways over the jump. Well, once again, I feel like in these opening 3 laps, Hillman's going to be attacking, be aggressive and get into that rhythm. Now, in this race, it's all about maintaining it. So he's looking around the outside of Jonas. Oh, the 41 pushing him to the curb. Hillman not taking that though. As Jonas tries to push him back. Oh, his elbows out already between the two. Hillman takes it back. Jonas takes it back on the exit. Hillman gets down the inside into the next corner though. And it looks like that's going to be the final exchange for the time being. Hillman leads over the KTM. Now he needs Prado to be hassling his teammate. I'm not sure the team would like that. Maybe Prado knows that as well. Oh, here comes Jonas over the jump. Hillman having to defend the inside. It's not over yet. Well, it was. But it's never over with Jonas. Such a consistent finisher as well. Second in that opening race. Nick set for second for the time being in this race. Hillman may be winning both races, but he's only taking handful of points off Jonas. He sets a 30.2 in that opening lap. And then almost loses the rear in that first section. That is such a tricky corner. It doesn't look like it looks like it's wide open. But you just get too close to those ruts from the start. In a world of pain. Like you see all Hillman being in that opening race quite a few times. Almost losing the rear there. Surprised he didn't, because in the other mistakes he made. But fingers crossed, that doesn't happen in this race. It looks like he's in that rhythm again, that early rhythm. Once again, where the track is, it's the most pristine, it's not as rutted as much. Seems the Kawasaki rides well in these early stages, a bit like that Suzuki. And I said Hillman does love these sandy surface tracks, sliding that bike in. Kawasaki very responsive. It didn't actually change the springs in between races. Considered it, but that worked well. Hillman won. No reason really to change it. As long as Hillman stays upright, almost lose it into that left hand. That's probably the trickiest corner on this circuit. And this is probably the most fun corner. Just get a bit light over that ridge, over that rise. He does a 29.5 to Hillman. So with 5 minutes gone, it's enormous again for the opposition, but they just got to keep faith. Now Hillman will be a plonker and will make a few mistakes like he did in our opening race. But then we've seen in second motos previously, when Hillman gets in this form, he's so much better than the first moto. Don't know what it is, just about maybe familiarity with the track. Maybe just the bike works better with the rutted surface. There's the Kawasaki. Just Hillman comes alive in these second motos often. He's doing it again. Surprised he hasn't fallen over that jump. He's had some suspect landings, shall we say. But they seem all to be sticking for the time being. Again, taking that wide line for the right hand. It seems to be his favourite line now because it leads beautifully into that second right, as you saw there. And then taking the wide line through that left-hander. Gets so much good traction out of that corner when you do that. You've also got to be careful when you're battling someone, though. Let's look at that low 29 now. Hillman racing away again. It's a repeat of race 1. Hopefully it's not a repeat of race 1 in the middle third, though. And look at that gap to Jonas. He's got a good gap over Prado and Covington. Wonder where Olsen is in this mix. Once again, the 5 championship contenders right at the front here in Italy. Disappointingly for 4 of them. But very good for 1 of them. You can see Hillman experimenting with different lines as well, taking some wider lines here. Just seems to flow better around this track as well. That's where I haven't really talked about all the lines that you take. You know, talked about how you could get caught up in the sand, but in these early stages of the race, taking those wide lines helps with the lap time, helps with the traction out of the corners. Definitely is helping Hillman at the moment. Again, avoiding that inside. You definitely need the inside of that corner, say in the final third of the race, but for the time being, not too bad. Who knows, you saw Hillman didn't really try and use the foot inside that corner. Final couple of laps in the first race. Got a good crowd here in Italy, very passionate about bikes, of course. With their hero in MXGP as well, Italo Corrodi. 9-time champion. I've got that right. One of the all-time greats. In his partnership with KTM. Around 5 years ago now is legendary that season. Where they just dominated in their 350s against the 450s, which has won out in that battle. Doesn't seem like we see 350s return, at least seriously, at the front. It's a bit of a shame. Of course you want variety in everything. So yeah, a bit of a shame to see that idea might be retired for the time being, or forever. I was actually reading about how that came together. It was an interview in, I forget the magazine now, but interviewing one of the KTM engineers at the time. Talking about how the project came together at the turn of the decade. You know, KTM saw Corrodi winning on something else and wanted him, so got him. You know, they got Corrodi a bit hated. His other manufacturer, which I forget. As you can probably tell, I'm not the best at my MXGP history at the moment, but I'll get there. It's the same with everything apart from F1. F1 I've followed since I was born, so I've been following that, I've been tracking the history, but absolute mountain on F1 books when I was younger. As Olsen's up to third, no Garcia, so I've been learning about F1 my whole life, so I know the history of F1 okay. For a motorsport fan, for a fan of F1, can always be better though. Like pre-war, like pre-1939, still got to improve my history of that. I know little bits, about the European scene from in between the First World War and Second World War, but still lots to learn. And does have some of my favourite drivers as well that period. You know, Nuviali, of course, the legendary Italian driver, unfortunately was a bit too ill to take part in Grand Prix racing post Second World War, and died actually, unfortunately, soon after the Second World War as well, soon after the World Championship came to be. But it would have been fantastic seeing him battle the likes of Fangio and his old rival Barossi. And of course, the son of Antonio Scari, a fantastic driver in the 1920s until he unfortunately got killed as Hillman's made his first mistake. Got beached in a bank there. So the mistake-free race is still to come, and hopefully doesn't lead to more mistakes. But he's still got a decent lead, between 5 and 10 seconds of Ionis. So yeah, Nuvolari against Alberto Ascari, the new breed of racer. That would have been fascinating to see. We saw a bit of it with Fangioni at Alfa Romeo 1915-51, the Italian. The oldest Grand Prix winner as well, in his 50s. I don't think anyone will match that now. I know with the longevity of drivers now, how fit they are, you never know. Of course, we saw Michael Schumacher come back a few years ago in his mid-40s, getting a pole in Monaco when he was 43. So hey, Lewis Hamilton, he's got the fire, got the desire, could race to his 40s. Never know. And you still see that in IndyCar as well, drivers still racing well into their 40s. The likes of Tony Kanaan, Helio Castroneves in recent years. Had Mo Andretti and AJ Foyt racing to their 50s. So yeah, it's definitely possible. He's definitely got some examples in modern times. And especially see like Scott Dixon or Will Power, I can definitely see them race until their 40s. IndyCar. I mean, they're not far off. Dixon's 38, I think now. It's the 5-time champ. And Power's 36 or 37. I forget. I think he's 37. So yeah, I can definitely see those two sticking around, being the arch rivals for Penske and Ganassi. The young guns of Joseph Newgarden, Alexander Rossi. We've got Ryan Hunter-Reay at Andretti as well, as I could see, you know, racing to his 40s too. He's not far off again. He's 36 or 37. So yeah, lots of drivers in IndyCar at least I could see racing to their 40s, being a bit older. Maybe in F1 as well. I'm not sure about Vettel. But definitely not sure about Hamilton either, actually. Hamilton can just go until he wins 7 titles and be like, that's it. Which definitely could happen in the next few years if Mercedes stick around. As he approached the halfway mark of this race. Going back in that rhythm, got a comfortable lead. Set up fast as that, 29.0. I was rambling about ages and old drivers. Don't get many old riders though. Of course, with the demands of riding a motorbike, very different from race car driving. And a bit more of a physical toll on the body, especially as the likelihood of injuries a bit higher, I would say, on a bike, as you're more exposed, of course. Especially with motocross riders as well. You don't see many of them racing well into their 30s. At least on competitive level. You'll see Chad Reed in Supercross. He's still hanging around as you'll see. Absolutely incredible. And Crowley's in his 30s now. So it'll be interesting to see how he keeps up with Herdins next year, 2019. And then if he sticks around, because if Herdins just takes over, just dominates like he did, I'm not sure how long we might have Coroli. But the only chance he's had at winning really this season is when Herlings have been injured or made mistakes, which has been very few. I mean, he did miss that round thanks to being injured at Herlings. Breaking his collarbone, wasn't it? In a training accident. Then Coroli quickly grabbed the double and closed that championship lead, but... Oh, into that bank again! What is it about that bank? Oh, Hillman. Making mincemeat of that bank, but thankfully, just a second mistake. He hasn't gone the way of the opening race. But still, Jonas is sniffing. It's around 5 seconds back, so another mistake for Hillman. Could be in trouble, just like that opening race. But as I was saying, for Coroli, the legend here in Italy, maybe slight doubts about his longevity, but when Herlings wasn't here, he was still the best around, so don't know. Be interested to see this battle between the old generation and new generation for the next couple of years. And see if Coroli's got anything in the locker for 2019, as I say, I could see Herlings dominate for the next 5-6 years until his 30s. If KTM keep up the pressure at the front as well. Because you've got Kawasaki being pretty decent with the Belgium. There's no one else really putting up a fight. You maybe got Yamaha occasionally. Well, there's nothing really there in opposition for KTM, unfortunately. No, it's a bit better in MX2 like this, because you've got KTM against Husqvarna. You know, Husqvarna are not really matching them, I would say, as well, but it's a bit more of a fight. But KTM are just dominating motocross at the moment in MX2 and MXGP, and unfortunately everyone else is struggling to keep up. Let's go over the jump, not too bad. So yeah, I'm looking forward to 2019 to see what everyone else can fight back with, if they do have anything. And to see those battles as well. You know, and seeing some of the MX2 riders jump up to GP too. Always interested in seeing that. This goes a bit wide there, Hillman taking that wide line. As it might be lapping riders this race. Once again, that beautiful controlled slide through the final corner, absolutely wonderful. He did us a mid-29. There he's down the marker again, Hillman. He's been much more consistent. Yes, there's been a couple of mistakes in this third of the race, but doesn't look troubled by Jonas. He doesn't look troubled by anyone behind, and it's like it's Covington in third now. As Hillman into that bank again. What is it about that corner? He's just messing it up. Like an absolute idiot. But he's an idiot who leads and is set to take the double here in Italy. First double for quite a while for Hillman. I think maybe in, was it the Netherlands where he got a double? He got one in Argentina. So it might just be his third double of the season. Compared that to Jonas, he's probably had quite a few more. And then no one else, I'm not sure, has a double. That's the weekend sweep. I'll have to check back on the standings after this, but yeah, age. What was I saying? Doesn't pay to be old, unfortunately, in this business. And old is only middle age, only in the 40s. Still got half a life to go now. With standard of living. Now in Japan, it's the early 80s now. His life expectancy. With everyone being more health conscious as well, exercising more. Who knows what life expectancy is going to be in, say, 50 years' time. You know, Japan could be mid-80s, everyone else could be, you know, in the 80s as well in the developed world. So very interesting seeing the evolution of riders and drivers in competitive sports, such as in MX2, MXGP, just the general growth of human understanding and ability to be healthier, to live longer, the technologies help us as well, the automation as well, you know, doing less manual labour. You know, you could see machines take that over in that span. Well, again, that might be a pipe dream for the next 50 years. Maybe in the next 100, definitely, but you never know with the rate of progress which is happening. And then we could actually see motocross riders being to their 40s. Never know. So we're in the final third of this race. And maybe they develop, you know, well, I say body armour, you know, just protection, much better protection for riders as well. There's got to be some material out there we just not discovered yet, which can really help. You know, protect drivers or riders, and we're just missing it at the moment. Just not discovered it yet. This kind of fusion of materials which will help. You know, stop even bullets maybe, injuring drivers and riders. You know, being that strong, that material. But we've got good material now. But then the leathers, you know, soft up MX2 GP riders wear, the fireproof overalls that drivers wear. They all discovered it years ago, ages ago. They've just been refined and improved upon. So I was thinking of that next step in protection. Just don't know when that's going to be. When we're going to discover that. If we're going to discover it. If we're just going to make bikes different, cars different, to help protect drivers and riders, like you're seeing with the Halo in F1 or the windscreen in IndyCar. Like you're seeing with the airbags as well in MotoGP or in Grand Prix or just in circuit racing. So I introduced in things, it's just not the ultimate, unfortunately, ultimate protection. Just on the evolutionary process at the moment. But then we're always going to be until we find, you know, that next step. Which, as I said, we don't know when that's going to be. I hope it's soon. So I don't want to see, you know, any more deaths, any more serious injuries in driving, in motor racing, in riding. And unfortunately, we've seen quite a few of that, you know, this year, even with all the advances. You know, unfortunately, seen quite a few riders die in road racing, such as most famously, perhaps Liam Dunlop. So a couple of deaths at the TT Isle of Man. Of course, seen Robert Wickens in IndyCar suffer horrendous injuries, and thankfully he's already well on the comeback trail. Well, I say well on the comeback trail. He's already, you know, mobile at least, which is fantastic to see. Even little things like seeing Herlings break his collarbone as well. No common injury for a rider, but surely there'll be something which can help protect injuries like that in the future. Just be a matter of when we find that out. As we've got around 5 minutes to go. And thank you for listening to my safety cinema. I'll be back next episode. Talk about racing boots. What do they really protect? But yeah, that's what happens when you got a 30-minute race and Hillman's just in the zone. He's got no one to gap. That's how in the zone he is. But yeah, I'm fascinated by what is happening in. Well, we live in such an interesting time. As I said, there's in quite a few videos now where I wouldn't say we're pushing humanity, to its limits, but we're discovering other things which could really help humanity. It could become part of humanity in the future, such as machines, such as, you know, instead of replacing legs with what they've got at the moment, it would be some invincible material like you've seen in, say, future tech, like we've seen in games and movies. We're on the cusp of discovering that in some places. We're in the cusp of discovering, I think it was in Italy, where they've replaced amputee arms, where they can just think and get that arm to move how they want. So it's actually part of them then. I mean, it's very basic at the moment, but that's incredible. Absolutely incredible. And so we could see in the future, in say motorsport especially, you could see amputees racing on fair footing with riders such as Hillman, who's just face planted for some reason. They could be racing each other without adapted controls, like Alex Zanardi and Billy Munger race with. They could actually have legs and control them and race as normal. Well, I shouldn't say as normal, you know, as race like they would have had if they had legs, you know. But again, this is probably pipe dreams and decades into the future, but it's just something to think about. It is a very exciting time to live in at the moment. Scary times as well, depending on where you are in the world. But exciting as well, especially with all the technology and all the advances we're making as well. But with around 2.5 minutes to go, back in the present, Hillman, he's made 3 mistakes now. Couple in that middle third, none in the first third, which is very surprising, and 1 just now. So he just about gets away. The Italian official probably had a bit of a wry grin there, but gets away with it. So it's a battle for 21st in front. Battle for the wooden spoon, as hotly and contested is a battle for the victory. Where Hillman's made mistakes, Jonas is still there, around 5 seconds back. He's not dropping off at all. That's what makes him a champion. That's what makes him the championship leader. But staying in the lead, having the pace to stay in the lead, is what making Hillman a championship contender as well. We've got around 3.5 laps to go. And Hillman's got into a good rhythm again. You can see having to take the inside line now there. How rutted this surface is. Even though it's not too rutted, it still rides basically the same as before. Just a couple ruts in a couple of areas really. It is surprising how much the track doesn't evolve during the race. I would have expected a bit more. It was a bit disappointing. Which could be a good description of this game, unfortunately, but... And Milestone's output as well this year. But we've still got Ride 3 to come in November. Very much looking forward to that. Still not sure whether to play through that, because I'm not the biggest bike fan. I love my bike racing, obviously, but I'm not very hot on street bikes and legendary bikes from the past as well. Again, my history's a bit suspect there. But I'll definitely give it a go, because Ride seems to be Milestone's staple game. That's their property, the one they've built up, the one they're perhaps most proud of as well, even over the MotoGP games, because that's licensed material. That Ride game they've built up to make it into the Forza of bikes, something which never really existed until they've come along and done it. But they seem to be doing a good job with it. Now, Ride was a bit of a bumpy introduction, the first one, but Ride 2 seems to be very well received, and Ride 3 looks to be a very good evolution, at least from the previews and what they've been saying. So I can't wait to try it out in November. Because Ride 2, from what I played, was pretty fun. I wasn't very good, but no, it's decent and fun playing street bikes as well. Riding those around. The naked bikes. And then right up to the super bikes as well. Even riding round street courses such in real life, such as like the Northwest. That's pretty fun. So yeah, I can't wait for Ride 3. See, just when I think I'm off Milestone, they drag me back in. It's the same with quite a few game publishers. They seem to want to push you away from making like half-assed games or games that are just not fully realised or have been quite obviously just underdeveloped. But then the next game they make is decent, and you're saying, oh, okay, surely they're not going to make that same mistake. Oh, they made the same mistake. But the next game is decent. It's the same with Milestone this year. You know, Gravel was unfortunately underwhelming. MotoGP and this game have been disappointments in my eyes. Even though this game's got a much better platform for the future, I believe, than MotoGP. MotoGP has quite a few issues, shall we say. But then you had Supercross, which was very good. For a Milestone game, you know, it's a typical Milestone game, but it's very well put together for a Milestone. That's kind of, I wouldn't say the peak of what they can do, but you know, it's very good what they did with Supercross. I'm very much looking forward to any future installments of that, as that was great fun. Or maybe they could merge it with this, with MXGP, but I'm not sure. Licensing issues, maybe they don't want to do that, want to be separate games, even though it makes more sense having them together. And then imagine the career mode in that, having it all linked together, having the AMA motocross as well. I know they have that in MX vs ATV All Out, but imagine that with Supercross, with MX2, MXGP. Could get offers from America, or you could opt to stay in Europe effectively, the World Championship, like you're seeing with lots of MX2 riders recently, with Covington, with Fernandez. That could really make career mode interesting instead of what it is now. So yeah, please make that happen. Please don't have licensing issues getting in the way of that. As we go through the final corner, Hillman, despite the odd mistake, wins again in Italy. It is the double. So in the end, Hillman wins by a comfortable 8.6 seconds after 22. That's with Olsen ahead of Covington in the end. Olsen not far behind Jonas in the end, less than around 2 seconds back. We've got Prado in 5th, Muse in 6th. Once again, strong performance from the Brit ahead of Leiber, Lawrence, Boges, and Siva rounds out the top 10. Well, to the home heroes, or Bernardini in 14th, Andrew Pepe in last. As Thomas Covington says, Hillman raced well and managed to clink this GP. We'll just have to suffer. We definitely approve that message. And what a great performance, I'm sure the team would be proud of. We love you, Patriel. Oh, Boges, get out of here. It always seems like being a poor rider leads to winning GPs. I have to try that out too. Let's get our beef on, Boges. We'll take it out on the track next race. As Hillman wins. Of course, he got the overall. But look at Jonas, 2 second places, just loses 6 points to the Macau rider. And then we've got Olsen in third ahead of Garcia. And Covington in 5th. Bit of a surprise there from Thomas. I thought it'd be a bit better than that. Muse in 6th. Not bad at all from the Brit ahead of Leiber, Lawrence, Siwa and Patro rounds out the top 10 of Boges and Bernardini. You've got Trepepe, Gol and Zaragoza out the back.
He battled throughout the whole race from the very first bend, showing a lot of determination and willpower. The highest step on the podium is truly deserved.
So in the championship, Jonas leads by 26 points. Hasn't won yet. We've still got 8 rounds to go, 16 races to go. Still got a long season ahead. As Covington's in second by 26 points. He's 12 ahead of Olsen. Hillman level on points with Prado in fourth, but ahead thanks to number of wins. And then we've got Patrell in sixth, Seawer in seventh, Lawrence in eighth, Bogas in ninth, Leiber ran out the top 10. A bit of a gap to the rest with the Brit up to 12th. And Hillman, 48 points behind Jonas. Less than 2 race wins back, but it's progress at least from Italy. It's fantastic. Couple of races, couple of rides he had. Bernardini in 13th, Van Dotnik in 14th, Ben Watson 17th. Sue rounds out the top 20. Got Petrov in 23rd, K-Wall 25th, Trepe 27th, Rubini in 30th. And we've got the South African right at the back. So lots of credits achieved, lots of fame as well, and lots of fun too in those couple of races. It's definitely coming back to me. There's a bit more fun in this game. We may be making silly mistakes, but that's what makes it a bit more fun as well. As the MX2 engineers, we've got a new one on the board. As you scroll down, it's got KYB suspension, got new rims as well, exhaust, handlebars. So lots of objectives achieved by Hillman. And then MX2 main as well. As you can see, he's got couple new sponsor, it looks like. But next time out, there'll be no changes as he heads to Portugal. Can he keep up this run? Hopefully Portugal's another sandy surface and they can really extract the most out of that Kawasaki and eat into that lead of Jonas. He's taking little nibbles. Hope he can take a bigger bite next time out. Sound for watching. We'll find out if he does then.